Kevin.
You're on there.
We're up.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's planning meeting, commission meeting. I call to order today, Plan Commission meeting on April 19, 2023. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tucker,
Here.
Commissioner Shank,
Yes.
Commissioner Shea, Commissioner Flores, yes, here. Commissioner Wright,
Here.
Vice Chair Cooper.
Here. Okay. First thing on the agenda is approval of minutes from February 15, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Wright and Commissioner Shank.
Okay. Is there any questions? Questions about the minutes? Calling Mark, roll call, Shay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. Motion Shank, second Flores.
Please.
Commissioner Tucker, Commissioner
Here.
Shank,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores, yes. Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cooper.
Yes. Mr. Eastman, you have the floor.
Thank you. Sorry? You good? All right. The applicant is here for a request to have approval for a special use permit for a planned development with variances and concept plan in order to allow for the construction of a truck sale facility commonly known as Pride Truck Sales and EV at 225 West South Frontage Road. The subject property comprises approximately 2.64 acres in size, is currently zoned B3 Highway Commercial, and is formerly developed as a Best Western Hotel. The property has access off of South Frontage Road to the north and Old Chicago Drive to the east. Detention would be provided via a combination of parking lot detention and underground detention, which would be owned and maintained by an association. Per the attached plan you have before you, the applicant is proposing to partially demolish portions of the existing hotel in order to construct an approximately 13,500 square foot building on the subject property, as well as 3 EV charging stations, which would not be for public use. The truck sales facility would consist of a single 3-story building featuring a combination of offices and storage areas primarily used for parts. The applicant is proposing 29 parking stalls, which is more than adequate per code. Public improvements, including the public sidewalk within the existing parkway area along Old Chicago Drive, would remain unaltered as part of the site improvements. Per the applicant, the office would be open Monday through Saturday, approximately 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and closed on Sunday. The applicant would have 5 to 10 full-time employees at this particular location. In order to develop the property in accordance with the attached plan, the applicant is requesting a special use permit as well as a few variances from the zoning ordinance and development code. Number 1, as I mentioned before, is a special use to allow truck sales. Per the zoning ordinance, truck sales require a special use permit within the B3 zoning district. Per the plan, he's proposing the construction of a truck/tractor trailer and trailer sales, supplies, and storage facility. Staff does support the request as proposed. Number 2 is a variance to waive the installation of a berm and irrigation system. Per the ordinance, a 2.5 to 3 foot high berm and the required plant material is required within the front yard setback along West-South Frontage Road, as well as the corner side yard setback of Old Chicago Drive. Per the attached plan, the applicant is proposing to waive the installation of the berm and irrigation system within both the front and corner side yard. Staff does support this variance as requested, subject to all the required landscape material being installed per the approved plan. Note, all neighboring properties along West-South Frontage Road do not have berms due to the fact that they were developed prior to the code being created. And lastly, this would allow for the majority of the existing landscaping to be preserved. That's very important to us. Obviously, if they were forced to install those berms, a lot of the existing mature trees would be lost at this point in time. Number 3, a variance would be to waive the required public improvements within the right-of-way along west-south frontage road. All necessarily public improvements, including the walkways, street lighting, shall be installed in a business development to provide safe and efficient pedestrian circulation. The applicant is requesting to waive these requirements due to the nature of the proposed development, along with the existing conditions on this particular stretch of frontage road. Staff does support the variance as requested, as there are no sidewalks or streetlights along this section of frontage road in the surrounding area, and the demand does not justify said public improvement. Just the foot traffic is going to be minimal in the area. We don't want to build sidewalks that lead to nowhere. Number 4 would be a variance to waive the required foundation planting bed. Per the zoning ordinance, a foundation planting bed that is a minimum of 10 feet wide and covers more than up to 50% of the overall wall, which faces a public right-of-way, is required. Per the plan, the applicant is proposing to waive those foundation planting beds along both the north and east wall for security purposes due to the nature of the business. We are in support of this variance as requested, subject to the required material being installed per the approved plan. Often we do grant this variance within our gas stations and also some of our businesses that have auto sales, just so the fact that you're not blocking the windows and they can maintain that level of security they need. Number 5 would be a variance to install an 8-foot high fence within the front and corner side yard setback. Per the ordinance, all fences installed in commercial areas must meet the setback of the required zoning district. The applicant is proposing an 8-foot high wrought iron fence within the front and corner side yard for both security and aesthetic purposes. Staff does support the variance as requested. So I just wanted to show you the proposed elevation. This is illustrating what the building would look like. Obviously, this is with the modification, removing some of the portion of the hotel and then modifying the exterior and turning that into the truck sales facility. Staff is here to recommend approval of a special use permit for a planned development with the aforementioned special use and variances. Staff is also recommending approval of the concept plan, subject to all of staff's comments from the memo dated February 21st, 2023 being addressed. This does conclude my report.
Thank you, Mr. Eaton. Any questions from the commissioners? Matt, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Is this truck sales or truck rentals?
This is sales. I believe they will have rentals, but the primary business is sales.
Okay. What kind of trucks?
So they will have your standard over-the-road trucks, but the applicant is here. I would probably like to let them get into their business model a little bit more. They are in the process of why those EV charging stations would be there, is they're developing electronic trucks. And so they would be selling not only electronic trucks, but also the systems for the charging station. So it's kind of like a display almost. So if someone wanted to buy that, they could come look at it and see how it works.
Yeah, no, and the reason I asked, because I'm looking at the parking. The parking looked like for cars, and if it was semi-trucks or box trucks or small trucks, the parking would change.
So
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so the way the parking, the 29 stalls that I mentioned are for auto, so for your visitors and for your employees. And then these stalls are designed just for the trailers themselves, not the actual trailer, I'm sorry, the actual tractor. So the vehicle
Tractors
itself.
only,
So you
no
wouldn't have the big back end trailer on site at all.
Okay.
It's pretty similar to the property that actually is to the west. It's just trailers, or the tractors only.
Yeah, and that brought my attention when you looked into the parking, the building next to it, it did have long spots for like a semi-truck. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up. Ooh, he didn't touch it, did he? So these stalls are kind of designed, they're diagonal versus parallel, but you can see that the majority of them are just the actual front end. They do have a couple trailers parked back there. I don't think that's what that's designed for, but that's essentially what they're looking to replicate on this other site.
Okay.
So Matt, I'm sorry, go.
No, fine.
The display, you said that there is a display there. What is actually consisted in the display if it's gonna be?
So it is a fully functional charging station. There's 3 stations. So a trailer could actually, a tractor could pull in and charge and then go on. So it's just on a much larger scale than the ones you would plug in with your Teslas or your Chevy Bolts, whatever you might drive.
For anyone that would purchase that, those
Yeah, so it's more for them to, if someone purchases the vehicle with them, they can display and show them the technology that they're developing. If you guys, if they're here, if they might want to hit on that a little more, that's not my expertise,
Could they
but
come up, so?
yeah, you guys
Okay.
want to talk a little bit about that? I don't want to butcher your business model.
Oh, you're right on.
Yeah, just they'll swear you in.
Can I have you sign in, both of you, please? Then I'll swear you're in. Okay, both of you raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth at this public hearing?
I do.
Okay. State your name and proceed, please.
Eric Grubb. I'm Jonathan Rodriguez with Pride Group.
Okay. I guess we were sort of waiting to give us a little bit about your business model and about the EV stations
And maybe the type of
Sure.
truck?
and the type of trucks.
So Pride Group's been operating in the U.S. since around 2018, and it started with one dealership in Ohio. It's expanded. We have 38 locations across North America and in the United States and Canada. So our footprint is growing. We have several in the pipeline. The EV station in this location here, the EV stations particularly that you questioned, we're pretty excited to have that infrastructure ability. These trucks, as you know, everything is going to electric. And so we are in the forefront. We already have the stockpile of these charging stations at one of our locations. Every site that we do have, we do install these. So that they are there and available for customers to purchase. Or if they're having work done on their vehicle, we can charge it for them and it's ready to go for them.
You're selling the EV stations also?
Yeah, they'll be available, yeah, for the customers.
How long does a truck run on
Okay.
EV now?
can
Especially if
go
it has a lot of weight,
about, yeah, 300 miles, right around there.
no matter the weight?
250, yeah, so right around that. The technology is improving and evolving, you know, almost daily. You know, there's things that are coming down the pipeline that are very interesting. I'm no technical guy, but you know, I see it in my home life. You know, my vehicle's an electric one, and the newer ones just have more and more advanced technology, and they can go longer distances.
So do you have inventory? I know you probably have trucks on site,
Mm-hmm.
but is it a placing order? Placing as you order, the client
Yeah,
orders the
we'll
truck?
have them available, and in fact, we have in our Atlanta warehouse, we have already stockpiles of these charging units. Yeah,
And do you know approximately how many of those trucks would you have on site at that point?
to be determined, kind of
Okay.
right now. You know, obviously supplies are you know, at a minimum right now, but you know, as it evolves,
Okay.
you know, that's the way of the world, and it'll be heading in that direction.
So the vehicles you have on site, are those the ones for sale, or do someone come in and order
For
if
sale.
they want?
For sale.
Yep. And, you know, with the advantage of having multiple locations across the US and Canada, we can get our hands on pretty much any inventory that anybody would like.
So these are primary demos that you'll be having? at your
Yeah,
location?
they're out there for sale. If you walked in, you wanted to purchase it, you could buy it right away. Or if you had a special order, you could let our sales team know, and they'll do anything they can to find you, you know, just like any other dealer, you know,
Okay, but
specific
is this-
car that you'd like.
Just specific for trucks?
Yep.
Okay,
Cool.
great.
Where's the 8-foot wrought iron fence?
So they're proposing the fence line, right inside this kind of landscaping bed, and then down this way. It's kind of hard to see, but it is that like real faint black line on the inside of the property right there.
Yes.
So in theory, the way the code reads is that that should be installed at the actual setback, so they'd have to install it right here, and they're doing that to give themselves a little more room and fluctuation with the trucks coming in and out, and just better aesthetics, I guess.
Yeah, and it'll tie into the existing fence that the neighbor has, you know, around the back and the side of the property.
Okay, well, it's pretty high fence.
With it being wrought iron though, it is see-through, I think it'd be different if they were asking for an 8-foot high stockade fence or something like that, but, with it being wrought iron, 8 foot's permitted.
It looks nice, should look nice.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it does give a little bit more of security.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, any questions from the audience? Step up, sign in. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, hang out and see.
Can you put it back on the aerial, please?
Good evening. My name is Jim Woodison.
Can you raise your hand? You swear to tell the truth at this public hearing?
I do.
Okay.
My name is Jim Woodison.
Oop,
I
that's,
could see myself
sorry.
falling on my head. This is the property, Northwest Trucks of Bolingbrook, your neighbor. First off, we don't stand in opposition to this improvement at all. What we do is we raise concerns. Old Chicago has become a derelict parking lot for trucks, abandoned, everything from people defecating on the side of the road to you name it. We have personally called into the code enforcement and brought concerns about what does this look like in 3 years? We don't know what Amazon's going to do, and I challenge the board to help us understand where this is headed. We need infrastructure. The future is in front of you. Transportation, final mile, all the work that's going on the corridor and 55 and all the warehouses, they're gonna need to get work done. We have a shop, we're a quality facility, we pay our taxes, but we're concerned. What does 3 years look like? We're not here to be anti-competitive, but I think we need to think about what we're going to do to Old Chicago to prevent a bottleneck. When I left work tonight, there was a truck parked right in front of your entrance. Where there are no parking signs, you're not allowed to park there. They do. So I think we need to incorporate into the plan what that's going to look like. My only question tonight, and then I'll adjourn, is what is Amazon going to do with this property? We know that you were in opposition of this, but that's gonna put a lot of pressure, not only on Old Chicago, but just on the egresses here. This right here is a very narrow 40, 45 mile an hour, no sidewalks, people walking in the street to get from Arrow. We have people walking from Arrow to us, because we sell trucks too. And we're just concerned that we should take a look at that. I'm not disagreeing that how do I want to put this correctly? There is going to be foot traffic. We want it to be safe foot traffic. having people walking in the street is not safe, because as the board knows, there's a berm here. This is a hill. And when you go over that hill, you can't see on the other side. So these are the things I would like you to please consider. We're not opposing it. We're just bringing it to your attention. We've been here for a long time. We'd like to be here for a long time too. Just consider it. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you sign in, sir?
I did.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess to touch on a few things. One, I know Amazon was brought up. They currently do have a plan in with the village at the moment. It is under review. Obviously, the village's comments are first and foremost about traffic. So until we have a traffic study that we agree with and IDOT agrees with, they won't be moving forward, but we are working with them. The whole, I guess, speed bump has been removed. We are negotiating and working with Amazon now. So that relationship has been mended, I guess you could say. In terms of the comments about Old Chicago, I'm not going to disagree with that. I have noticed that in the past, and I think it's an enforcement issue. So I think that we're going to have to turn up our enforcement on some of this derelict truck parking that is taking place along Old Chicago Road. So that's something that I will direct to our police chief, and there's going to have to be some work done in that particular area. But in terms of this private property owner having to take on improvements of Old Chicago, that's not something I think we would typically recommend in an instance like this. We would take these comments and we take them seriously. I will definitely look into this matter further. But I don't, in terms of the foot traffic on West South Frontage Road, I would have to look into that. I don't really know how many people are walking on West South Frontage Road. I'm sure there are a few. Where and why, I don't necessarily know. There's really, I don't know why you would be walking there, to be honest. But I will, Tom, did you have anything to add in terms of traffic concerns or?
No, pretty much mirroring you. I mean, all the times I've been in Frontage Road, I've never seen a pedestrian. I've never seen a path in the grass indicating there's been a lot of pedestrian traffic. Yes, Old Chicago Drive, I've seen the derelict vehicles, and I guess the only reason they've probably got away with that is it's wide enough that you can park vehicles on both sides of the street and still have two-way traffic, so it's not really causing a congestion problem. It does cause an aesthetic problem. And yeah, Amazon, we will review those plans when they come in. They have submitted a traffic study which was incomplete and is being reworked. So, before Amazon moves forward, we'll make sure that we're satisfied that there won't be a problem with volume of traffic generated.
If I may follow up on that just for a second.
Yeah, come on.
Thank you. In fairness and in response, the hotel was an issue. And so when I reference foot traffic, people going from the hotel that is now closed, in fairness, going to the Speedway
That makes sense.
is where I'm specifically addressing. It just needs something, just discussion on and moving forward. Now that it's closed, we've noticed less foot traffic. There is a sidewalk that goes up there.
Right.
So I think that's clarification. Okay?
Thank you.
No,
you.
fair enough.
Thank you.
There are sidewalks along Old Chicago, as you see. It's just all the way from 53 to where we're talking about. You can see there's no sidewalks on Frontage Road. So that's the relief we're giving them is only for that stretch. The sidewalk would remain along Old Chicago. We're just not making them install it along West South Frontage Road.
Is there there's parking on Old Chicago, right? Parking is allowed on Old Chicago?
Like the parking that is, we're talking about now with these
Yeah,
trucks?
well, he's saying abandoned cars, trucks, or whatever.
No, I don't think it's, I think it's been happening because Manheim Auto closed and people have just taken advantage of the street. I don't believe it's assigned parking along Old Chicago Drive.
So does ordinance for Bolingbrook is no parking on the street?
That's why I said this is an enforcement issue.
Yes, that's what I was leading to.
So I think
There
we're
is
gonna
an
just
ordinance
have
that
to
there's
start
no parking,
cruising that street a little more often and actually towing some trucks and ticketing some people.
and especially for trucks, if they're staying.
Correct, especially if there's people outside using the facility, I guess we would say. That's very concerning to me as well. That's not what we're about, that's not what the village wants to see, so I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, can I have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Shank was second, okay. Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Shank?
Yes.
Commissioner Flores, yes. Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Commissioner, Vice Chair Cooper?
Yes.
Okay.
Public hearing is now closed. Approval for findings of facts. At this time, I would like to motion to approve the findings of facts.
Motion.
So moved.
Flores, Shank, second.
Okay, we stand approved.
Okay.
Okay. Do I open up the motion of the meeting again, right?
Findings, motion.
Nope. May I have a motion to open a public hearing for special use permit for auto zone parts and accessory store, auto zone, project number 40423.
Motion.
Did we do the findings?
That's what I was saying, there's no findings.
We didn't actually do a motion
Fact and findings.
on the permit.
That's why I got one missing, this one. So you did the motions, but the findings are the ones that were with.
So yeah,
Now we need the
it
approval.
was a recommended for approval and then,
Approval of findings of fact, first thing I said. Okay, may I have a motion to approve project 400.23?
Motion,
Second.
okay. Okay.
Now we need a roll.
Now we need a roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Commissioner Shank?
Yes.
Commissioner Flores, yes. Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cooper?
Yes.
That's for motions or findings? It was for findings, right?
Okay, did both of them. Okay, now open the public hearing for a motion for project number 40423, auto zone auto parts.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tucker?
Yeah.
Commissioner Shank?
Yes.
Commissioner Commissioner Flores, yes. Commissioner Shank, did I call you? Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cooper?
Yes. Mr. Eastman, you have the floor.
thank you. The applicant is here before you tonight in order to request a special use permit for an auto parts and accessory store in order to allow AutoZone Auto Parts at 200 North Weber Road. The overall subject property comprises approximately 1.74 acres and is zone B2 community retail and currently has a vacant approximately 23,000 square foot former Sears Appliance and Hardware building. Per the attached plan you have in your packet, the property owner is currently under permit to remodel both the exterior and interior of the existing building in order to create four tenant spaces ranging from 2,320 square feet to 11,043 square feet. Access to the property would be provided from Jennifer Lane to the south and Weber Road to the west. There is sufficient parking on site for the proposed use. Per the attached plan, the applicant is proposing approximately 7,000 square foot auto parts and accessory store, commonly known as AutoZone, at 200 North Weber Road, which would be located within the southern end cap of the building, so closest to Jennifer. The hours of operation would be 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and Sunday 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and they would employ approximately 8 to 10 employees. Staff is here to recommend approval of a special use permit for an auto parts and accessory store, commonly known as AutoZone, at 200 North Weber Road. This concludes my report.
Okay, any questions from the commission?
And for the record, there's a number of documents in front of you that were provided by the applicant. One of those documents does demonstrate how they satisfy the requirements found within the municipal code for a special use application, and then I believe there are some recommendations also included, just in some history about the company and that type of information.
This is the old, Sears appliance.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. The-
Okay. And they're redoing that building, but we're only worried about the one unit that they're gonna
Yeah,
split into
so
four?
as I think we're all aware, the building's in need of a little love. So by signing on this tenant along with a couple other tenants, they're gonna completely reinvest and remodel the exterior and interior. So it'll go from one tenant to 4.
Well, there's certainly ample parking there.
Yes.
Is there gonna be any sort of aesthetic berm along the front?
So,
I know you access this through Jennifer Lane.
right. So there'll be an access point through Jennifer and then a right in, right out off of Weber. In terms of the landscaping plan, we are working with the property owner, but they're not demolishing the building, so they don't have to necessarily bring the property into full compliance, but they will be doing new landscaping. So most of the existing curb lines, for instance, are gonna kind of remain in the existing locations. We won't necessarily have a berm put in.
And eventually they will be remodeling the outside of the building?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
From what I've been told is, this is kind of the kickoff point. Signing AutoZone allows them to do a lot of things financially.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Okay,
I dig it.
we have a motion to close this public hearing.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Flores and Commissioner Wright, second. Commissioner Tucker,
Here,
Commissioner Shank,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores, yes. Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cooper.
Yes. Okay, at this time, I would like to have a motion for approval of findings of facts for project number 40423.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Motion to approve project. I have a motion for approved project 404.23.
Motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Tucker,
Yes.
Commissioner Shank,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores, yes. Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cooper.
Yes. We stand approved. Okay. We don't have any
Thanks.
new business today, any old business,
No?
any citizens to be heard.
Nope.
Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you.
Still in there.
Welcome addition.
Okay.
Is he in now? We're still on.
Okay.
We're still on,
Yes.
Hello?
That's a good looking close-up right there.
Minutes, that's it.
Okay,
This we
awesome.
don't sign, this we don't sign, that I don't sign, you want this one?
Smile, you're on
Everyone
public camera.
else?
It's still lit up though.
Yes, 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 yes. It's amazing. Awesome. I'll keep this one.